Hello and welcome. I thought we'd talk a little bit today about the idea of going back to the past to think about where we're at in the present. And it's something in therapy that is often talked about. And I don't think there's a simple solution. I don't think there's a right or wrong, but I think there might be a right or wrong for each of us as individuals. And I think it's important to own that. I think that there is a lot to be learned in our understanding of where we're at today when we look at our past relationship with our body, with food, with other people, and how they teach us about food and what they teach us about our bodies. So all of that past stuff, I think, is important for us to acknowledge and see. But I think it's also important not to live in that past, not to try and step back and dwell overly long in that past, because actually that is gone and we can't change it. And I think it's really important and sometimes really hard to acknowledge that what has happened in the past that's led us to our current relationship with food and our bodies has been hard and isn't easy to think about sometimes, and we may never want to think about it, and that's okay. But I think sometimes what we learn from the past can bring an understanding to where we're at today. And when we start to understand where we're at today, we can start to think about, okay, where do I want to move to? Because just as we've moved to where we are today from our experiences in the past, we also get the opportunity to move to new experiences and hopefully more peaceful, improved relationships with food, weight, and our bodies in the future. By coming back to the present, though, when we understand where we're at now, we get to see and reflect what our needs are in this moment. And when we come into the present, we come into the same space that our body's in, because when our minds are time traveling, they're never in the place that our body's in. So I think sometimes it can be really helpful to actively go with our minds back to understand some of the past, and the past hurts specifically probably, that have brought us to now. But to use that, not to keep us there with anger or frustration, although that's all very valid. And I'm not saying don't feel that anger or that frustration or that sadness and loss, but to come to now and to use that information to be able to say, and what do I want now? What's important to me now in order to create a present and a future that has a relationship with food, weight, and my body that serves me much better. Whether you choose to look at the past or not is absolutely not for me to say. Whether it's helpful or not is not for me to say. It's for you to think about. But I think sometimes it can be really helpful to think about it, just so that you get to decide, and also that you get to not be afraid of going back to the past, not be afraid of looking at some of the pain that's created some of your relationship with food and weight, to be able to go back and look at it and say, that really hurt, that was really painful and sad. And I honour that time, and I honour myself in coming through that time to this moment. And what do I need now in this moment? Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.